You probably take your modern medicine cabinet for granted every single day. A quick trip to the pharmacy solves almost every biological hurdle you face. You grab a small box and pay without a second thought. But for your ancestors, the pharmacy was a dangerous and wild forest. Imagine trying to plan your entire future with a handful of wild seeds. Or even worse, a bowl of hot liquid led from a blacksmith. If that makes you want to hug your local doctor, welcome to Stickwise. This channel is the place where we realize history was actually terrifying. Hit the subscribe button to join our tribe of curious human beings. How did ancient humans survive their own experiments with their own bodies? The answer explains why you feel so much pressure to plan today. Our ancestors were the ultimate pragmatic scientists of their harsh environments. They did not have laboratories or white coats to protect them. They only had the mud beneath their feet and the garden plants. They had to be bold, and sometimes they had to be reckless. This was a high-stakes game of survival and resource management. Think about your life right now in your climate-controlled home. You probably check a weather app before you even step outside. You plan your meals based on a calendar and a budget. Now imagine doing that without a grocery store or a steady job. In the ancient world, every new mouth to feed was a massive risk. It meant more hunting and more gathering in a world with predators. It meant the difference between a thriving camp and a starving one. Because of this reality, humans became obsessed with controlling their destiny. Let us start our journey in the golden sands of ancient Egypt. The Kahun Gynecological Papyrus is one of the oldest medical texts ever found. It records a recipe that sounds like a nightmare to modern ears. Women would mix crocodile dung with honey or sour milk. They would form this into a plug and use it as a barrier. This sounds like a gross-out challenge from a modern reality show. But to an ancient Egyptian woman, it was cutting-edge technology. The dung acted as a physical wall against the forces of nature. It also changed the chemistry of the body in a very specific way. Crocodile dung is slightly alkaline, which created an inhospitable environment. This is the same reason you buy insurance for your car today. You are trying to create a buffer against an unpredictable future. They were using the resources around them to gain a sense of safety. But the Egyptians did not stop at using dangerous animal waste. They were also master herbalists who understood the power of plants. They discovered that soaking wool in fermented acacia juice was highly effective. This was not just magic or superstition. It was actual chemical science. Acacia gum ferments into something called lactic acid over time. That same acid is used in modern contraceptive jellies right now. She was not a primitive person living in a primitive time. She was a chemist in a linen dress fighting for her future. This connection makes the ancient world feel much closer to your home. You are not different from her. You just have better tools. You feel the same urge to manage your life that she did. Now, let us move across the sea to the Roman Empire. Imagine a plant so valuable it was worth its weight in silver. This plant was called silphium, and it only grew in North Africa. It was the ultimate wonder drug of the ancient Mediterranean world. Roman emperors kept vast stores of it in the official treasury. Wealthy citizens would pay a fortune for just a single drop. It was used as a resin or a liquid to purge the body. People were so desperate for this control that they over-harvested the plant. Humans literally picked silphium into the shadow of total extinction. It is the ultimate cautionary tale of ancient supply and demand. We feel that same panic when our favorite products go out of stock. Our ancestors just had much higher stakes for their shopping lists. They valued their freedom and their planning more than the plant itself. This shows how much humans have always feared the unknown future. We want to hold the reins of our lives at any cost. But not every method was as sophisticated as the Egyptian acacia. In ancient Greece, the famous physician Soranus had a different idea. He suggested that women should simply hold their breath during the act. Then they were supposed to get up and sneeze as hard as possible. He believed the physical force would simply eject the biological problem. It is a funny image, like a cartoon version of medical science, but it shows the deep human desire to find a physical solution. We still do this when we try to walk off a bad mood. We want our bodies to respond to our direct physical commands. Even when the science is wrong, the human effort remains the same. We are trying to exert our will over a chaotic natural world. Soranus also suggested something much more dangerous for his patients. He told women to drink the water used by blacksmiths. This was the water used to cool red-hot iron in the forge. This water was filled with high levels of toxic lead and debris. He thought the metallic properties would create a shield inside the body. Instead, it led to chronic poisoning and a slow, painful death. This reveals a dark side of our history that we often forget. Our ancestors were willing to face death to gain a bit of control. They were brave enough to be the test subjects for our survival. This brings us to a tragic story from ancient China. Concubines in the royal courts faced immense pressure to maintain their status. They were often instructed to drink liquid lead or hot mercury. This was not an act of malice from the doctors of the time. It was a tragic misunderstanding of how the human body functions. They believed heavy metals could lock the body in a permanent state. Instead, it caused catastrophic failure of the liver and the brain. It is a haunting reminder of how far we have truly come. Today, we get nervous about the minor ingredients in a snack. Ancient people were literally drinking poison to manage their own lives. They were staring down a lethal dose just to have a choice. This desperation proves that human agency is a very old desire. We have always wanted to be the masters of our own biology. Even when the methods were terrifying, the motivation was purely human. Let us look at something a bit more successful from India. Ancient practitioners used pieces of rock salt dipped in neem oil. Salt is a natural killer of the microscopic cells of life. And neem oil is still being studied today for its amazing properties. This was a clever use of the natural chemistry found in the earth. It was a bridge between pure superstition and actual biological evidence. Our ancestors were watching the world and learning from its patterns. They noticed that salt preserved meat and stopped things from growing. They applied that same logic to their own survival and planning. This is the same logic you use when you follow a recipe. You are applying a known pattern to get a specific result. You are using the wisdom of those who came before you. But sometimes the best method was simply a physical barrier. Legends say King Minos of Crete used a goat bladder long ago. This was the precursor to everything we use in the modern age. It was crude, uncomfortable, and likely very strange to actually use. But it represents the birth of a new era of human ingenuity. It shows that even kings were looking for ways to bypass nature. You probably feel that same urge to hack your own biology today, whether you use a fitness tracker or a very strict diet. We are all just King Minos trying to outsmart the natural order. We want to live our lives on our own specific terms. In Egypt, they even used linen sheaths as a status symbol. These were often dyed in bright colors to show off wealth. They were trying to make a medical necessity into a fashion statement. This is not different from how we market modern healthcare today. We want our survival tools to look good and feel personal. We want to feel in control and stylish at the same time. But there were also biological rhythms that ancient people understood well. Many societies encouraged mothers to nurse their children for 3 years. They noticed that this naturally delayed the arrival of the next child. This was a natural biological clock that they used to their advantage. It was not perfect, but it was a gift from nature itself. It allowed families to space out their resources and their energy. This required a deep connection to the cycles of the human body. In our modern world, we are often disconnected from our own rhythms. We use blue light and alarms to override our natural instincts. But our ancestors listened to the whispers of their own biology. They understood that the body has its own rules for survival. Why does any of this matter to you sitting on your phone? Because every struggle you feel today has a very deep root. The anxiety of planning or the fear of the unknown future. Our ancestors felt that same weight in their own heavy hearts. They were the first ones to realize that nature is wild, and they were the first ones brave enough to try taming it. They did not always get it right, and the cost was high. But their failures paved the way for your current modern safety. You are the living proof of their relentless will to survive. They walked through a field of poisons so you could have a pill. They experimented with dung and lead so you could have latex. This is the profound legacy of the human struggle for control. We are a species that refuses to be told what to do. We look at the impossible, and we try to find a way. Whether it is a wild carrot seed or a high-tech lab, we are still searching for the same thing our ancestors wanted. We want the freedom to choose our own path in this world. You are not a malfunctioning person in a modern office. You are a survivor who is finally safe enough to breathe. Your ancestors would be amazed at the choices you have today. They would be shocked at how easy your survival has become. But they would recognize the look in your eyes immediately. That look of a human trying to make a better tomorrow. That is the thread that connects us to the very beginning. From the Nile to the forge, we have always been explorers. We explore our own bodies and the world around us. We are the scientists of our own lives every single day. You are not just a number in a vast modern system. You are the result of thousands of years of trial and error. You are the answer to a question your ancestors asked long ago. They asked if it was possible to survive the harsh world, and looking at you now, the answer is a resounding yes. You were never going to let nature have the final word. You are a human being, and you were built to choose. If this journey through time gave you a new perspective, subscribe. We have many more stories of ancient survival to tell you. You are not alone in your struggle to plan your life. You have a whole lineage of brave ancestors standing behind you. Remember that the next time you open your medicine cabinet today, you are living in a miracle that they worked hard to build. Go out there and make the most of the choices you have. You have earned your place in this long history of survival. See you in the next deep dive into our collective past. Stay curious, stay brave, and keep asking the big questions. Your future is yours to write, just like it was for them. Thank you for being part of the Stickwise tribe today. We will see you very soon in the ancient world again.